This is the other thing you learn when you go into these rooms, right? To go back to that metaphor, you learn that people are not happy.
Yeah.
The rooms you want to get into, as much as they have many benefits and perks and all sorts of crazy,
I think, all those psychological researches can be problematic. I think most of the research suggests
like
that
diminishing returns on happiness when you get to a certain level of income.
that it does matter.
No doubt.
Up to a level. But once you get past that level, there's diminishing level of returns. And if you measure, and while we are all caught up in this consumer Western culture, there are people in other parts of the world, and probably people in America and in this country, in this part of the world, in the Western hemisphere, who don't have as much, but the ways that we measure happiness are just as happy or happier.
Yes, and I think about this, even take money out of it, right? But take the scarce resource of accomplishment, of whatever trophy it is that we are ostensibly chasing, a medal, whatever it is, the distinction, the genius grant, right? Whatever we think is most validating. Michael Jordan's miserable. Charles Barkley seems thrilled. Like the game that Charles is playing, right? Like I find myself, there are people who are Jordan stans. That's my GOAT. I am more and more a Charles Barkley guy.
It's interesting.
And I know that he is a bundle of things too. I'm not.
No, but I get what he represents. I'm not talking about Charles Barkley's political opinions or anything else.
Yes, he has opted out of that competitive frame in a way that has resulted in him having more fun than anybody else who played the game at that elevation. And that to me is just that's why I joined Meadowlark.
Yeah.
That is why I am trying to disengage with the standard ways of scorekeeping.
Right.
Is because if I can actually feel, if I can express, if I can genuinely enjoy the shit I'm doing, it feels like I'm actually hacking the game to get to the thing at the center that we're really chasing.
It's funny because when big jobs come up around sports, my name is occasionally still.
Yes, you were a candidate to run the NFL Players Association.
Yeah.
We talked about this in secret when you were contemplating this.
Right.
If I can say that now. This was a forever sort of a job.
You could have asked me first, but it's fine. We can put it out there. It was a Pablo Torre show exclusive.
It was a job that you considered, because of course it is, a forever sort of job.
Yeah.
I think a lot about the deathbed test, And I think about this in times of actual grief, but also in times of pressure. I'm trying to figure out, am I handling this moment? Is my anxiety a function of evolutionary adaptation? Or is it the opposite? Is it a thing that I need to eliminate to survive? And what I keep on thinking about is how, in the end, we're not going to, of course, on our deathbed, worry about, I should have had more viral tweets. But then I think about how, if we're concerned about our accomplishments, about greatness, of historic achievement, what do you know about fucking William Howard Taft?
Nothing. He's fat.
Stuck in a bathtub.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
He was the president.
Yeah.
We're going to get one thing. If that.
Yeah, we're not going to get anything.
That's the president getting stuck in bathtub.
But
we're probably going to get a vague echo of a memory occasionally.
This is where you lose me. I don't care at all about how I'm remembered. Honestly. I don't. When my body decomposes and it re-enters all of the elements that make me up, re-enter the earth in some capacity, I don't care at all. I'm not worried about my eulogy. I'm not worried about how many people write stories about me or how many people come to
So the game, just to be very clear, because this is important context, the game that you're trying to compete in and win as an existential matter is only meaningful insofar as you are there to win it.
Yeah. So you actually care.
I don't think of myself as I want to be like Genghis Khan. I want my lineage to survive me. But I do wonder, what's the actual value of doing stuff that is supposed to stand the test of time?
Nothing. I don't care. I'm dead. Read my phone. See all this embarrassing stuff. Check out my porn history. Knock yourself out. I'm dead. All the stuff that I care about, all I care about is like what's happening when I'm here now. And so like me being embarrassed about my lack of accomplishment now is a now thing. And I do think like that deathbed test is something that, whether it's a coping mechanism or a true thing, like I feel like that scoreboard, I feel great about it. Like I spend so much time with my kids and my family.
Yes.
And like I spend an amount of time that I would not be able, and that's not to say like I was a candidate for that NFLPA job. And when they first asked me to be a candidate, I told them no.
There are trade-offs.
Yeah, because there are trade-offs. I'm not interested in that. And then I gave it more thought, and honestly, I couldn't get it out of my head because there's only been one thing in my life that I've ever felt passionate about, and it's sports unions. Mm-hmm. Like, outside of being an athlete, the one thing that I felt professionally passionate about is sports unions. And like people had called me many a times over the years complaining about DeMaurice Smith, agents and whatever. It's like, you should challenge him. And I was like, no, I won't do that. Like if the players want to get him out, they'll get him out. If he wants to retire, he retire. I'm not doing no backdoor shit. And all the sneaky political stuff that people have done. It's like I refuse to participate in any of that. But I then was like, all right, this opportunity is here. This is a deathbed regret. This was the first time that on a professional side, I would look up and be like, man, I should have done that. And so I won't have that regret now because I did not make it to the, I got interviewed.
It's insane. That's my take.
Yeah, you can have your take. I mean, as someone who was on executive committee in this process before, and whose decision-making in that time was considered insane, I refuse to participate in that. Like, I obviously think whatever, but because I'm biased towards me, and I could come up with all the reasons why I think I would have been great at that job. I think that they chose the person that they thought was right. And, like, I have regrets about the interview that I did with the executive committee because I leaned in on the stuff that I told you that that I had learned from my time at the NBA Players Association. And my story about the NBA Players Association was I was coming fresh out of business school, and I was super business consultant guy. And I would create the most complicated and elaborate, I mean, not complicated is the wrong word, elaborate plans and strategies for everything that we needed to do. And then present them in our C-suite meetings, like all the executive, present them in the meetings. And no one could poke holes in them. They were outstanding, but nobody believed in them. So we didn't do them. And I would be furious. And I'd complain to my wife, complain to my friends. It's like, this is what we need to do. And to the point that I was talking about before, that none of that matters. I'd rather, to use a sports analogy, I'd rather have a mediocre game plan that everyone believes in and then have a flawless game plan that no one is on board with. And my mistake was my ego is like, let me bring this flawless game plan. It doesn't work nearly as well as constructing a game plan with people. And I think that I don't regret, but I made the point that I can sit here and go through all this stuff, and I can wow you with my understanding of the league. I can wow you with my understanding of the union. I can wow you with my understanding of the legal strategies that we can use. I can wow you with all these strategies. And anybody who comes in here, I can probably do better at this than any of them. I worked at the basketball union. Yes. I was the president of this union, the executive committee of this union.
You have an unparalleled vantage point and expertise.
Went to business school. Like, I can do all that. Trust me, I can do all that. But let me explain something to you. That does not matter, and even more in this case than in most businesses, because we are outmatched as a union against the league. No matter what people say, we're outmatched. It's an uphill battle. It's a David Goliath situation. The only strength that we have is in our solidarity. And the solidarity, in my view, comes from people on the outside not sniping, which is why I will never do that. And I won't do it now. I won't do it in the future, no matter what the hell the new executive director does or what anybody in the union does. You won't find me on the outside saying any bullshit.
I'll snipe.
You can snipe all you want, but I will never. But what we have is the solidarity. And the solidarity is all about relationships. And that was my point, was like, whatever you do, whoever you hire, their number one purpose needs to be building relationships outside in the locker rooms, which is why the former player thing, I think, does have some value in building connections amongst the players, because it's a lot easier to cross a picket line, or it's a lot easier to be weak when you don't know anybody, when you don't know who's relying on you, when you don't have, like, those are the things that matter. So again, no matter like I said, I don't regret it, but I think where part of what I lost in that presentation was not demonstrating that I understand it. But in my view, you don't need to understand it. It doesn't matter. What matters is, can we be strong? And you build strength in part by delivering that you understand all of this, but also empowering people to develop their own strategies and plans, because they will believe in that more often.
I should say that while we were discussing this off the record for a while, when you were thinking about doing this job, that I also had a conflict of interest, because I was in favor of course, like supporting my friend, my brother.
You were not in favor.
Yes, I will snipe at all of the people who got this job, because obviously you're the most deserving person. I genuinely believe that.
Only one person got the job. You can't snipe at all the people who got the job.
But I'm also very glad you did not get the job.
Hater, you're not my friend.
I needed you at this table. You would have left this business. You would have left this business behind, and I would be here coping by myself. So I am glad that you did not get to fulfill this one deathbed mission that you would have enjoyed, because this means that I can make jokes about porn history.
God's plan. I'll just say it, it's God's plan.
I just want people to know that you cannot look at my porn history when I die.
Yeah, they can look at it all they want.
Domonique is an open book. I am.
Oh no, the book's closed until I'm dead. When I'm dead, I don't give a damn. Look at whatever you want.
I'm just on incognito mode. Good luck finding my history.
I have convinced myself that I won't. I mean, I'm sure the incognito mode. You believe that nonsense? Okay.
Are you an incognito mode truther?
I'm not an incognito mode truther, but yeah, I guess I am. You think that they don't have a history of your searches anywhere?
This is the story I need to tell myself about myself.